At 10 p.m. on March 16th, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin announced a 14-day movement control order to curb the spread of COVID-19. Rumours of the lockdown spread much earlier in the day, and a few hours before the announcement, Malaysians were lining up at hypermarkets and grocery stores to stock up on essential items.
This is panic buying. It occurs when people buy a large amount of products in anticipation of a disaster or a shortage. It is not a local phenomenon as it happens everywhere else in the world too. So why do people panic buy?
Panic is about fear, and so it's that underlying fear that I may not be able to get this, so I better stock up on it now. And they have a tendency to hoard and overbuy.
This is Dr. Diana. She has 35 years of practice and experience in psychology.
I may not be able to get it tomorrow or the next day, and my life will be just not very good. That's where it comes from, this fear when they're stocking up and hoarding and buying. It is a matter of they feel safe. They feel they're keeping themselves safe.
Part of the panic is caused by sudden fear, and threats to our well-being will increase fear, especially when the threat can be neutralized by self-protective behavior.
Part of the panic is I better go buy it before Joe buys it or before Mary buys it. You know, let me go run out and buy it before there's none left for me. I think that comes into play too. Because again, this part is natural human psychology. When we are in fear, some sort of fear, we do put ourselves first.
She relates this behavior with a few factors in psychology. One of them is fear trigger response, especially during times of uncertainty.
I think it's a trigger response, and I think we always have to be aware of our trigger responses to things in regard to anything. And before we do some sort of knee-jerk response, that of course is not related to when we're in imminent immediate danger. If I see a cobra slithering across the floor, I'm certainly going to have a knee-jerk response and get the heck out of there.
The other one is mob psychology.
And mob psychology is when a group of people begin to think the same way and nobody within the group steps back and says, hey, wait a minute, let me kind of analyze this situation. They just sort of jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, they see other people overreacting to something, and so it's like, oh, wait, maybe I'm missing something. I better do something, I better do this as well.
Dr. Diana says insufficient information and ambiguity also played a factor in people's response.
For about 3 or 4 days before the lockdown, it was speculated that there would be a lockdown. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And that puts people more in a panic mode. Nobody knew exactly what to expect. We don't know. They said a minimum of 2 weeks. We're going to have this lockdown here in Malaysia, but it could go on longer than that. And that's also before they announced that, well, stores will still be open or restaurants can still do takeouts. So it's sort of like decisions are being made without the whole picture being reported to people. I think if it were first said that lockdown for at least 2 weeks, however, stores will remain open, restaurants, you can still do takeouts, that would have made a difference. But we're getting fragmented information as we're going along, and then the information is being tailored and adjusted as we go along, and so nobody really knows what to expect.
Even though panic buying during a pandemic cannot be eliminated, as certain people are still going to panic and go on impulse buying, it's important that everyone make rational decisions and practice a sense of community to make ourselves resilient in the context of emergencies.